Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our leadership training videos. In these leadership training videos, what I do is I take you through a few minutes into some thoughts and insights, primarily through my own experience, but also through ideas and thoughts that I believe will be valuable to you in your own journey in leadership. I hope that some of the insights that you discover will give you little lights that are shining in a particular direction. Hopefully there'll be big lights but pointing you in a direction you hadn't really thought of to help your own career to grow. My name is Chris Igwe. I have over 35 years experience leading, training and developing teams across Europe, Middle East and Africa, but primarily 5 major European markets where I've lived and worked and developed and grown teams. Feel free to like, comment and share, and of course subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are becoming available, and look back and see some of the others that I've done. But the idea here is to give you more, and especially with today's topic, more insights into what it takes to be an effective leader. What are the leadership traits and skills and abilities, knowledge and insight that you need to have? If you're not a leader today, that's okay. As Napoleon Hill said, great followers become great leaders, or can become great leaders. So follow where others have gone and create your own path, create your own identity, your own uniqueness around leadership. Now, given that there has been a lot going on these last few weeks, I wanted to take something that is topical and present that to you today. And what I wanted to do is to take you through what I call the leadership lessons from British politics. Leadership lessons from British politics. The very first thing I'm going to say is this has absolutely nothing to do with politics. Nothing, in the sense of what I'm going to share. Yes, politics is the component of this particular video and presentation, but it's not about the politics itself. But very briefly, for those of you who don't know about British politics, essentially there are 2 major political parties. There's the Conservative Party, who are currently in power, and there's the Labour Party. There are also Liberal Democrats, which is perhaps the 3rd party in the UK, in Britain. It doesn't matter about who, what, how or why. You can go and research that yourself. The point I want to make is that over the past few weeks, there has been a lot of turmoil within the British political scene, with changing prime ministers, from Boris Johnson to Liz Truss, and now Rishi Sunak. All of them within the Conservative Party. Here are some of the fundamental elements that we as leaders need to consider when we look at that. So I'm gonna write them out, and then we'll just touch on each one very briefly. For me, and I've mentioned this and talked about it specifically in other videos, but in a previous video, one of the fundamental elements of leadership which needs to be displayed is integrity. Integrity. So when you look at what's been happening throughout this struggle at the Prime Minister level in the UK, and the impact on the economy and on the people, there's a big question mark around leadership and integrity. And like I said, there have been 3 prime ministers in the past couple of months or so, between those who've resigned and those who've been elected and then resigned and then elected again. But integrity is one of the first ones that you have to consider as a leader, because that sets the foundation of not only your character, your behavior, but also how you are seen, in this case by the country, let alone internationally. I think the other thing that you need to think about as a leader is this. You see, what this has demonstrated is it's easy to rise and it's even easier to fall. We all run the risk as leaders that as we go up the mountain, we want to take people with us, but at the same time, there's got to be an element of humility. I didn't get here on my own. I am on that road, but I need others who can help me get there as well. So humility is also a very important one for us as leaders. Number 3, it's all about ethics. And I think that this one, particularly today, is very questionable in the behavior of people. At what point are you going to compromise your ethics or your standards or your values versus what others want you to do or be seen as? So for me, the ethics piece links into integrity. If you are integral, you have a very clear vision of what you will do and what you will not do, then that already puts you in a place where your ethics would not necessarily be scrutinized, because you would be an ethical individual. So those are the first 3. And the other, inevitably, we can go on. You can have many others that you have for yourself. But I think the other one is being truthful. You see, as leaders, we need to say the truth at the end of the day. No matter how hard it is, no matter how it might impact any of these, but it will, in my opinion, demonstrate your integrity. If you are truthful about the challenges, something that's going on, the difficulties, let's say in a business, for example, and I've had this, you've had to reduce staff, so you've had to let some people go. You've got to be honest with them and tell them what is going on in the business and how sadly they are part of the collateral damage, if you like, or they are one of those who has to be invited to leave and be compensated accordingly for leaving. But you've got to be truthful, not only about the situation within which you find yourself, but also how you want to find a way forward as well. So that is really critically important. So being truthful is very important as well. So I think the other one, and as I said, you will have your own, but the other one for me is compassion. Compassion is the point at which you connect with those that you lead. You connect with those that you lead. You help by understanding what their problem is and trying to find a solution to that problem. Because very often today we don't use or see compassion as a strong part of leadership. But that is so important, because again, if we take it back for a moment to the political environment of any leadership, so whether it's France or the UK or Germany or the United States, it's the ability to understand what is going on at the grassroots level. And our grassroots as leaders in businesses or entrepreneurs, it could be as much the person who, in the sort of image that one might have, is the concierge or opens the door for you. If you're lucky enough to have a driver, it may be the one who drives you. It could be your personal assistant or executive assistant, although they are generally more senior individuals. But just think of someone who, in your organization, perhaps is back office, IT, information technology. They're the ones who are behind the scenes, or finance, or human resources. You don't see them that much, but what is going on in their world? What is challenging them? How can you show compassion? And then the final one, because there are many and we could go on, but it's linked into this one. It's the ability to listen. Listening is so incredibly important, because if you don't listen, then how can you understand what is going on? How can you deal with the compassionate part if you haven't put in and tuned in your listening ear? Listening. And then of course I could add in here understanding, because listening should not be something external, it should be internal, where you take in what has been said, but you take in also what's not been said. And that helps you to grow in terms of what you're doing. So as I said, I just wanted to give you some thoughts and ideas which have come out of the chaos of the recent British premiership and political situation. And it's not about one party or another. It's about how we as leaders, in our position of leadership, bear in mind the essential foundational elements on which leadership is born. And it's those ones that I've mentioned to you. I'd invite you to go back, take a look at them, add to them, because there are many others. We could have done a list of 20. And by the way, I haven't necessarily put them in hierarchical order, although I always believe that in leadership, integrity is always the very first. So that will always, for me, be right up there in the top 2 or 3 is integrity. So what are you experiencing? What are you finding? How can this help you to avoid some of the road crashes or damage that can occur through your leadership? Is to be aware of these things, which are so important. One other thing I would add, and then I would leave it there, is also leadership, despite the fact that we think we get there on our own, leadership is through the support of other people. So in the case again of the leadership battle in the UK, you need to have people who support you, support your ideas, support your thoughts, but enough to federate and bring everybody together, because we live in a world, in a company, an organization, on a planet where we have diverse views, we have diverse opinions. The idea is to bring those together, make them gel, and then create something truly amazing. So continue to love your journey of leadership, continue to grow in it, but bear in mind that it's so important to have these foundational elements within your journey that people can look at and go, he or she qualifies as a leader that inspires me and someone I want to follow. So I hope this has resonated, left you with some thoughts and ideas. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are becoming available. And so I will say, until the next time, thank you.